Hey guys, it's your girl Mel here, and I'm just coming to you today with my first ever brow tutorial. I am sitting in my dining room, but I just wanted to show you some products that I use to do my eyebrows. Typically, if you want to wear foundation or you don't, it's up to you. This is just like a quick little tutorial. As you can see here, my eyebrows are not that bad, but this is all that I have. I don't grow much more, so sometimes I just like to pencil them in because your eyebrows are the first thing that people see usually when they're looking at you, along with your eyes. But I feel like once your eyebrows look good, typically your face kind of comes together. So just gonna update you guys on what I prefer to do, and enjoy. So one of the first products that I typically use, or what I've been using lately, is by Benefit, and this is called the Precisely My Brow Pencil. It has a spoolie on one end. You should always brush your eyebrows up in the direction that they grow initially, and this little pointer, and I like it's like a magic wand. It just has a defined pencil, and prior to using this, I was using ColourPop's eye pencil and Bang & Brunette, which I really like. That formula seems to be a little bit more creamy. This one is not as creamy, so I would compare this to the Anastasia brow pencil. And other things that I use, I just kind of use any concealer. You can use any concealer to go underneath your brows just to touch up. But this one is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the color 30 Cafe, which is just a little lighter than my skin tone. I use a flat brush, and this one is a MAC 2112 SC, and honestly I don't even know if they still make this. I got this brush a long time ago in like a MAC brush kit. Or you can use an angled liner brush, and this brush has no name. I probably got this out of like some brush kit I ordered off of Amazon or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm just keep adjusting the camera because this setup I have going on is just like budget, low budget. I'm in my dining room, as you can see, got the wood paneling. But back to the brows. Another thing that I do use is this, it's called Cameo Dark Perfect Brow. And honestly, I just ordered this off of Amazon. It's for brow powder. I feel like you can use any powder. Like, a lot of people use the Anastasia brow powders, and although they're great, to me, a brow powder is a brow powder. This one comes in 3 colors. There's like dark, and then a lighter shade, and then a lighter. So like, I don't typically just use the brow powders alone, but what I will do is I'll pencil them in, and then I just make the front of my brow a little lighter, and I use this darker color here, here for the tail end of my brow. And this kit came, it did come with some tools that I don't use, and I don't typically pluck my brows. I just kind of pencil them in because, like I said, this is all I have. Another thing I choose to use, which I do use this, or you can kind of use your fingers just to buff out the concealer after you use it. So what I'm going to do now is use my spoolie. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of like looking down at my products, and I have my mirror here with lights on. So what I typically do is just, I don't want to be out of frame here, and I brush the hairs of my brows up into the direction they grow. And I watched a video the other day by this girl, Claire Moore. I kind of really love her video. She seems really down to earth, and she's an excellent makeup artist. I think her makeup always looks beautiful. So what I do is just brush them. But what she was saying is that you should always do your brows in a way that you don't have to use the concealer. So I'm not a makeup artist, and that doesn't always happen. Sometimes my brows look like they hate each other, opposed to looking like sisters. But for this tutorial, I'm going to try to do my best. So what I do is, after I brush the hairs up in the direction they should go, I typically just take this end of the pencil and I kind of just like shade in to like the shape of my brows. So I'll start here, and I don't know if you can already see that, like this pencil is bomb. Like it just starts shading in, like you don't really have to do much with this pencil at all. But I just do the strokes in the shape of my brow and shade. Now, I don't really like too much of a high arch. What I do is I just keep shading and follow the pattern of my brows. And just gonna kind of keep shading until I have the shape that I want, which this is good for me. And I just shade a little more. And I use small strokes. Like I hold the tip of the pencil down here and kind of use light strokes, because the goal is to have these brows look as realistic as possible. And if you can see, I'm not perfect. I'm a nurse, not a makeup artist. I just happen to love makeup. But as you can see already, and I haven't even brushed the product through the brow. You see the difference? Big difference already. So what I'm going to do is, I've already brushed these hairs in the direction that they grow. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other brow. Light strokes in the direction that the hair grows. This is so awkward to be doing on camera, guys. I'm usually just like in the room, in front of my mirror, doing this. I feel like I'm fully exposing my secrets here. So the brows are funny because like I said, they don't always come out like sisters. Sometimes they look more like enemies. And we want no enemies going into the new year. So here I'm just going to shade a little more. And kind of stroke some hairs up. Fill in that part. And like I said, if you mess up a little bit, like that's why you use the concealer to correct. But let me get a good look. Now it looks a little patchy here, but what I am going to do is, I think the shape is okay. Maybe a little more down here. Yep, the shape. I'm okay with this shape. Well, you gotta kind of use a light hand because you don't want to be looking crazy or nothing like that. So you can see the difference already it made. What I'm gonna do now is I just kind of take the spoolie end and I kind of brush through. I go up in that direction and kind of just brush the hairs out and down, just so that product kind of coats all of your hairs. Now the thing is, if you're gonna do brows, and not foundation, you may want to get a concealer that is more of your skin tone. If you see my face, I do have I struggled with acne for a while, adult acne. And I do have a lot of hyperpigmentation. And, oop, you see that? I'm brushing my eyelids now. Just kind of push these through, the product through. And like I said, you like the brows to start a little lighter and then build up in intensity and color. So I just kind of like brush the front of the brow a little bit more to lighten that product. All right. It's like a lot of brushing. Now, in my opinion, and like I said, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm a nurse. I just happen to love the way makeup makes you look. I love how I feel when my face is all made up. But what I'm going to do is just clean up a little bit and add some concealer. As you can see, they're not too bad if I didn't want to do that. Now, typically, what I watch a lot of videos and I see a lot of other girls do is they conceal underneath, clean up underneath the brow and on top. I don't always clean up on top, but I mean, you can if you wanted to. But since I'm not going to put on any foundation, I'm just going to clean up underneath the brow. Excuse me if I go out of focus. So I'm just going to grab my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the color Cafe. And this baby is almost on E. I honestly, I don't use this for under eye concealment. I just use this for my brows. But it is time for a re-up. I do coat both ends of the makeup brush like that. And like I said, this one was the MAC 212. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the camera a little closer so you guys can see. This might not work. I'm not going to bring the camera a little closer. What I'm going to do is come into my mirror, just like go out of focus a little bit here. Hopefully you guys can see me. And I just apply small strokes for underneath the brow in the same direction that I drew. And then I kind of bring the product down a little bit. And I typically just like let that dry a little bit before I buff it out. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other brow, which it may seriously be out of focus. Honestly, I never knew how to do makeup. I just kind of like used to put on foundation or something like that if I was going out. And I never used to fill my brows in. And I learned how to do makeup. I learned how to do brows. Everything that I have learned about makeup has been from YouTube. And I'm obsessed with watching YouTube videos. And I decided I'd create my own channel. So this one may also, like I said, it may go out of focus because I am using my smartphone. I don't even own a camera. And trying to do that. If you could see, my other eye is jumping. Does that mean somebody is looking for me? I wonder who would be looking for me. Who could it be now? And just like the other brow, I just kind of bring that concealer down a little bit. And this is all trial and error, honestly. Trial and error. So like I told you, I'm not going to clean up the upper brow. So I'm just going to let this brow dry a little bit. And typically, like I said, what you can do is buff this out with your fingers or use a brush. I am going to come in. We're getting so up close and personal. And I'm going to buff this out with my finger. You always want to use like your ring finger when you're doing eyes, because I feel like it has the weakest muscle. You don't want to like do too much pulling and tugging on your eye. So that's how you get wrinkles and lines. And like they say, black doesn't crack. I have no crow's feet, but I do have some lines underneath. So I do use an eye moisturizer. Gotta prevent those wrinkles. And over here, I'm just gonna do the same thing. And you're just basically buffing that concealer like into your own skin. Now, if I was gonna do a full face, I would probably bring the concealer down a little further and set it and like get ready to put eyeshadow on and stuff, but I'm not doing that today. This is just a brow tutorial. So like if I was gonna just take my brush, this brush is actually an oval foundation brush from Crown. There's no rules to makeup really. Like you just have to do what works best for you. And I know typically people would not do this with a foundation brush, but I kind of like the bristles and I like the shape. It kind of can like get right into those arches that you've created. And it buffs it out really nicely. Yeah. So that was my brow tutorial. Oh, before I forget, what I will do is I'm going to take this no-named slanted liner brush, and I'm going to take that eyebrow powder and the top shade, which is hard to see on the camera, but this is actually the darkest shade. As you can tell, I use that the most. I'm like almost hitting pan on that. I'm just going to take a little bit on the brow, on the brush. Excuse me, and you want to tap off the excess, and then I just kind of brush that through at the end of the brow to just give it that gradient effect. Like I want like a light in the front and gradient into a little deeper. Can you see the difference? Just that little powder made. And do the same thing to the other side. Dip both sides and tap off the excess and lightly stroke. You always want to use a light hand in makeup, that's for sure, I'll tell you that. If you start going too heavy, you can create a mess, and then you just need to start all over again. Yeah. So I think that's pretty good. I think today these babies are looking like sisters and not enemies. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. This is my first one, so I'm sure that as I do these, they will just get better and better. But if you can see, like now, without foundation, I mean, of course I would put some mascara on, and I can just let my hair down a little bit, my little swoop, and swoop it up if it would stay. And that's it. Go about my day. I'd put on a little gloss. So thanks for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate your support. Please subscribe below. Yeah, I wish everybody has a happy new year. I hate when people say new year, new me, blah, blah, blah. But just continue to keep loving your heart. be conscious of what you do to others, and love yourself before you can love anybody else. That's it. Bye-bye.